With the second cycle of 3.4 banners coming near, it's time for me to start talking about the characters that are about to rerun. I will start with Yelan, since she's a character that never received a rerun before, and in general, a character people are less familiar with than Hu Tao, who has been around for 2 years already. The common depiction of Yelan is that of a top-tier character who will be game-changing for your account, to the levels character like Kazuha or Nahida can be. In this video, I will tackle this exact thing, to analyze how good Yelan can be for your account. Let's get straight into it. Let me start by stating the obvious. The definition of must pull in Genshin isn't exactly the same as it is for other types of games. In fact, while Genshin has a meta, just like other games, meaning it's generally possible to visualize best possible tactics, builds or characters for a specific context, since this is a largely uncompetitive game, there is no pressure on players to strictly follow whatever the current meta is for their pull choices. In Genshin, must pull generally means that a character is so good that it will change the structure of your account for the better in a significant way. Either by improving all the teams where he fit in, or by opening completely new possibilities by himself. Basically, a character so good that even in an uncompetitive game you can point at him and say, yeah, he's straight up better than the vast majority of characters in the game. Yelan is an interesting case to analyze, because while she has many characteristics that can make her a must-pull, there are also other things to consider about her that can make the issue more complex. Let me clarify that the things I'm about to say are purely about her value at Constellation Zero, since things can easily change once you invest hard on her. At free-to-play investment, Yelan is commonly compared to Xingqiu. They overlap pretty hard, as for both of them, if taken singularly, their use case revolves around how their Hydro application can be taken advantage of to build solid teams' identities, while the rest of their capabilities are generally something extra, which contributes significantly to the team damage potential, but isn't necessarily essential. Consistent off-field Hydro application is something very strong in Genshin Impact, as Hydro is at the center of most of the great elemental reactions in the game. In particular, Vaporize and Hyperbloom teams are some of the strongest reaction-based compositions in the game currently, and both are often tied to either Xingqiu or Yelan in an almost make-or-break way. There is no other way to describe it. Xingqiu is completely broken in terms of how much Hydro he can apply during a single rotation, as he even beats Yelan all the way, by being able to apply more than her entire kit does with his Elemental Burst application alone, while his Elemental skill, and his Rain Swords especially, are also able to produce a huge chunk of application. In short, Xingqiu is a completely foolproof character in terms of application, while Yelan can be somewhat lackluster in some rare situations, like when you're trying to enable some high-frequency vaporized damage dealers, such as Hu Tao and Xianling. Luckily, this factor is not so penalizing for Yelan that she can be used as a support for those characters by herself, as there are specific rotations that can allow her application to be more or less reliable for Hu Tao, and their damage and supportive advantages over Xingqiu still make her team DPS at least comparable to his in those situations. That said, if being a Xingqiu sidegrade was all there is to Yelan, she wouldn't be considered a must-pull, as the former is not that hard to get if you played Genshin for a while. The true value Yelan provides comes from the amount of possibilities she opens up if she's used in tandem with him, meaning double Hydro compositions. The concept is pretty basic. You put Yelan and Xingqiu together on a team, and take advantage of their combined damage, utility and Hydro application to wreak havoc. There are several aspects that make this combination unique. First of all, since neither of them snapshots, they're not tied to any buffing supports, unlike characters such as Fischl and Beidou, who rely on Bennett on a large amount of their non-dendro compositions to dish out high damage. Secondarily, they both can produce a high quantity of energy in a single instance. In fact, for supports and sub-DPS, it's better to have a high particle generation with high cooldowns, as opposed to low particle generation with low cooldowns, as the second requires a quick swap compositions to be taken advantage of. Since Xingqiu and Yelan can respectively produce 5 and 4 particles with their skills in a single instance, that makes them really easy to maintain energy-wise even when they're paired with carries such as Hu Tao, whose rotations wouldn't allow them to quickswap for higher particle generation. Last but not least, they complement each other perfectly, as Xingqiu provides defensive utility and offensive utility through hydro resistance reduction for both him and Yelan, while Yelan is more on the offensive side, thanks to her higher damage potential and damage buffs to allies. The result is a rock-solid combination that works basically in every team, also thanks to how strong Hydro is as an element for reaction purposes. The relevance of this duo can be compared to compositions like National, so teams that will carry you through every kind of content as long as you maintain the team core identity, but compressed into just 2 units instead, something that makes Double Hydro flexible to an unprecedented degree in Genshin Impact. Also, while their application, if taken singularly, will be already enough to supply most compositions in the game, their combined effort doesn't go to waste, as there are teams that can take advantage of all that extra application, such as Funerational, which slots in both Hu Tao and Xianling in a double Hydro, double Pyro composition to take advantage of the extra AoE damage and Pyro-related supportive effects Xianling provides for Hu Tao. Notoriously, there is also Hyper Bloom, where Xingqiu and Yelan together contribute for higher blooms generation compared to comps where there is just one of them on the team. In short, Yelan is a must pull not just because of her capabilities to be a second Xingqiu for your account, but also because she allows you to build a wide array of teams that are all guaranteed to work well just because of how strong Double Hydro is. Additionally, her early constellations and her signature weapon add another dimension to her kit if you ever intend to chase them, as they increase her damage potential, lower her energy requirements, and increase her hydro application, making her a completely self-sufficient powerhouse. I will address her value at dolphin level investment in another video. I'm done for today. As always, if you haven't done it already, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time!